Hey guys, I decided to make a video about fishing this time. I was wondering what's the point of the whole fishing thing. So basically this video originally it was about testing the different fishing baits. So I did this, but I also decided to actually analyze the whole experience and what I've learned out of it. So I spent a couple of hours leveling fishing and testing out different things, areas, different times of the day. I didn't test out a lot of like everything, but we'll get to that in a minute. So for around 10 hours I got to level 14 and the max level is supposedly level 13, but the experience requirement increases dramatically. So you're gonna need a total of 3 million XP, fishing XP, to get to level 13, which is huge actually, considering the average rated which I get XP. In my calculations this would take about 80 hours average, unless the drop rate or the speed increases dramatically, which I'm not sure. With Fish Mastery food I reached about 35,000 XP per hour. The Fish Mastery food is called rye bread. It's a pretty simple recipe, it's easy to do, just get your daily ingredients and pretty much use it all the time. It gives you 15% mastery, which actually it's a bit funny the way they explain it, but technically that just gives you extra XP. And I was using platinum fishing rod, which gives basically fishing +3. To my understanding, the fishing level that you have, it's mostly increasing the speed at which you obtain a fish, and supposedly should unlock certain types of fish eventually, but I didn't saw a huge difference. Just after the first couple of levels I was already being able to catch almost any type of fish, and beyond that it's just a matter of increasing the speed, but not that much to be honest. So I'm gonna look through one, like I just found a random guide online and I was reading through it and I thought to myself, well, all of those things are basically just feel like a flavored text. I mean, they don't say anything specific, and I looked through so many different guides and they all seem to be like copy pasted. They're just talking about super generic stuff that don't mean much to the player. So I'm gonna try to clarify what I've learned. So in one of the guides they were saying experiment with different equipment. What do they mean by that? Try different fishing rods and baits. So to see what combination works best in specific fishing spots. I didn't try different fishing rods because I realized it's what it says, it's giving you just extra level, right? And you have 3 different fishing rods that you can get that are epic. You can get a Kraken one, which is obtained from Amateur expeditions in one of the shore regions, but the drop rate is pretty low. You gotta get the pouch, the back, and this has a random chance. You're not gonna get the back every single time, and also once you get the back, you have very low chance of actually getting the Kraken fishing rod anyway. The other fishing rod is actually the one I got. I was lucky enough to get that. It's just RNG anyway. This one you can get from Mystic Portals. And then you have the, I think it's called Tevent fishing rod, which actually you can craft by farming a couple of materials that are actually obtainable through fishing as well. But it's gonna take ages to farm those things. Like maybe you probably take you as much time as you need to get to level 30 anyway. So all of those 3 options, in my opinion, they're basically the same. I mean, if you just look at them, it's just epic fishing rod and they all give you the same +3 fishing. I don't think there's a much difference, but if there's some hidden effect, then if you know about it, you can let me know. But it doesn't really matter which one you're gonna use based on just stats. I'll talk about the baits in a couple of minutes. Time of the day and weather. So you can catch specific fish at specific time or weather condition, basically if it's raining or if it's day or night, and at specific spots. I didn't really saw huge difference. Basically I was running with the same rod, but I was changing baits and I was changing locations, and I was actually catching fish during the day and night and whenever there was raining as well, and I didn't saw any difference whatsoever. You catch the same fish. I'm not quite sure if the frequency changed, if you get like more high rarity fish, but overall as you level up you get higher rarity fish more often, so the chance of getting a green or blue is increasing with your level. That's what I experienced personally. when it comes to rain, I believe there should be something, because there are a couple of things that you already know that actually change during the rain. Like one of the plants that you can gather changes, but I didn't personally experience a huge difference for fishing anyway. So they're also talking about in one of the guides, I assume that this guide is actually not for the global version of the game. I'm playing on the global Throne and Liberty in a European server, because I saw that they were talking about 3 specific areas that you should try, and they're like designed for different types of players. They're like more popular, but they actually don't exist in a global game yet, I believe. So one of the areas was called Serpent Lake. I tried to find anywhere, but actually you can't find something like that in a global version. Twilight Coastline, also I can't find that, and Whispering River as well. But what I've learned is actually people say that around Saurodoma Island you can find Aurora Starfish, and some people say that you can find it during the night, but actually I managed to farm that specific fish even during the day, but it was only there. That's the only specific thing. The only major difference between the locations is you're gonna catch 2 different types of fish based on whether it's from a freshwater or saltwater, which makes sense. It's logical, right? You get 2 different types of fishes, but anything in between, like it doesn't matter at which sea you're gonna fish, it's just saltwater fish anyway. And then it doesn't matter at which river or lake you're gonna go, it's always gonna be the same freshwater types of fish. So I tried the 4 types of baits you have. The first one you probably use most often is paste bait, which is the easiest one to get. You can get it daily with contract points. For 20 contract points you can get a box with 50 baits per day, and you can also get it with ornate coins. For 15 of them you get a box, pretty much the same box, and this has limit of 100 per month. Like if you manage to get that much ornate coin, if you actually want to do that, you need 1500 ornate coins to get all 100 boxes, and that's going to result in 5,000 baits, which is huge, by the way. In my opinion, you would probably need around 10,000 catches to actually get to level 30, something like that on average, based on my progression anyway. The second type of bait that's a bit more difficult to obtain is fish fillets. To me that's like a medium difficulty, because basically all you gotta do is just chop down some of the fish that you can catch and use that as a bait. But it's more important for higher tier fishing, because it's supposed to catch bigger fish. That's what it says. I don't see, I think that's just a flavor text, but I cannot confirm what exactly the different types of baits do anyway. The third type of bait is worm bait, which is a bit harder to get because you obtain that from gathering trees. So if you farm trees you get that somewhat often, but again not always, and you have to actually actively farm something else to get that bait. And then the last one that seems to be the hardest one to get is shrimp bait, because this one you get from farming crustaceans, crabs, lobsters, and so on, these types of monsters. And technically the drop rate is pretty low, so you can spend a lot of time and you don't actually find endgame minions of those types, which may have higher drop rate for this particular bait. So in the end of the day, I tested all the 4 types of baits at a low level fishing, basically between 0 to level 10. Mostly after that I was running just paste bait, and I didn't saw huge difference. Like I didn't saw any difference really. And I tried again different areas, different times of the day, no difference on the fish drops, not even on the drop rates anyway. So the only difference that I noticed was whenever I level up, it was just getting a bit faster. So I managed to get the fish a bit faster. So the whole mini game that you do, I was able to just catch the fish faster. And probably the actual drop rate of the rarity of the fish increased as well. When it comes to the actual experience, always use the rye bread. It is good, gives you 15% more XP. So basically what you have is 3 different rarities of fish. So you have white, green and blue. I assume eventually they will release epic type of fish as well. And also it might be related to your level. but there is still no epic, and probably they will release it in the future, so maybe you can't even level up to level 30 right now, but I'm not quite sure. So the average XP you get with the fishing XP food with rye bread will be for the white around 150 XP, for the green around 300 XP, and for the blue around 450 XP. So basically it increases by 150 every single time. It's like tiers, right? And also you can get small and big sack, which is basically like a pouch with random drop inside. Mostly you're gonna get like one specific item for crafting a fishing rod and so on. And small and big sack will give you around 300 XP. So the average percentage of the rarity I got between level 1 and 10 was around 17% bluefish, around 50% green, including the sacks, because they also give you 300 XP, that's why I included them there, and 33% whitefish. But this actually changed as I level up. To my experience, only the paste bait can give you actual sacks. The other types of baits don't give you these particular items. So for the first 4 or 5 hours I got to level 12, which was like super fast. So why is fish important actually? Let's talk about that. Why would you wanna spend your time doing something so boring? Like generally speaking, really that's gonna be the worst way to spend time in a video game. The game doesn't have AFK fishing, so it's not like Black Desert Online where you can just leave it like that. You actually have to actively play it. And also I assume that they created this sort of minigame so that they tackle down potential bots, because nobody would want to do that anyway, but now in this case you have no choice anyway. So why would you want to do this for hours and hours? I mean, not for hours, but if you do it like daily, like half an hour per day, eventually you're gonna run out of bait anyway. And if you just get the 50 paste baits, that's only gonna last for like half an hour, maybe even less than half an hour at higher levels. But then you can just chop down fish and so on and so on. But generally speaking, you probably don't want to be doing this for more than 1 hour per day because it's just crazy boring. But anyway, why is it important? Why do you want to fish? Why do you want to catch fish? So basically, it's actually used for end game cooking recipes. A lot of these foods are actually pretty good. They give you pretty decent stats. And they're actually, some of them, if you manage to get great success, you can sell them on Action House. They actually sell for a decent amount as well. That's why it's actually pretty good to do it if you have the free time. And since the game at this current stage doesn't have too many end game activities that you can do, I mean, it's just kind of repetitive stuff, and after a couple of hours you're probably done with pretty much everything there is to be done. So if you want to play the game for a bit longer, you can just do this as well. I advise you, if you decide to deal with fishing, just put something on the side to watch, maybe on the background, just listen to something, because it's pretty dull experience. You're just going to be spamming out and you're not really, your brain is going to be at 10% activity or something. Few tips for the fishing. So obviously you're going to chop down the whitefish, but be aware of the blue and green. You can also chop down some of them, but pay attention if you actually need them for recipe or something like that. They can give you fish oil as well, but you have to decide based on what kind of food you want to cook, because not every single food will be able to sell on the Action House. So we want to make sure that this is actually useful for your build, for your class. And so whenever you're cooking something, you can either use it or sell it if you have better success. But if it's not useful for you, don't cook it. So if you don't need fishing oil, don't chop down blue and green fish, even though they give you more fish fillets, because the fish oil is not going to be useful for you. However, you can still use the blue and green fish for different cooking recipes. So refer to your build and see what kind of foods you need, and don't just waste it like that. So with that being said, I'm currently level 14, and it took me around 10 hours, maybe less. And you could just, generally speaking, it's not too bad. And probably now is the best time to actually do it, since, like I said, there are not many activities in the game. But in the future there will probably be more things to do, so you won't really find time to do this. So you can just every once in a while just spend a little bit of time on fishing if you want, and get some better food, and also make a little bit of lucent as well. Really, the 4 baits that I tested don't make huge difference. Maybe the fish fillet would probably make some difference beyond certain higher level of fishing, in specific areas, but most likely fishing bait is more than enough, and don't have to worry about worm or shrimp baits at all. And also the paste bait will have chance to give you the small and big sack, which is also kind of a bonus. So that was it for fishing. I hope that this was useful for you guys. It's gonna help me a lot if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and see you next time.